What's up, gurus? Welcome to Azure This Week. I'm Brian Roehm, and I'll be taking you through what's been happening in the world of Azure. This week, we will explore Grafana, take a look at some updates to Azure Cost Management, examine a new tool set for Azure Monitor, and finish up with a look at resizing disks in Azure. Yes, I am surprised as well. Usually, Labor Day week is kind of slow, but there's actually a lot going on in the world of Azure. So with that, hey, let's get started. To kick off our Azure This Week, let's talk about Grafana and why it matters to you. Grafana is a third-party, multi-platform, open-source analytics solution. It connects with a large variety of databases and, since it's open source, allows programmers to write plugins from scratch for greater flexibility and connection. And just like every other monitoring platform, it allows for the analysis and monitoring of data over a period of time. It's frequently used to track user behavior, search for errors, and to identify unique data points that might influence business decisions. Fantastic, but I thought this was an Azure This Week video. Well, it is. Microsoft has just moved into general availability Azure Managed Grafana. Now that means you can use Azure Managed Grafana natively within Azure. This will allow you to connect Azure services with other services outside of Azure using Grafana. Now this is important to you because it further highlights Microsoft's commitment and push to integrate open source solutions and to embrace the concept of multi-cloud and hybrid cloud. Next up, we will transition away from Grafana and third-party tools and focus instead on cost management. Larger organizations typically have multiple Azure Directory tenants. This occurs because of mergers, acquisitions, security concerns, and separations for organization. Regardless of the reason, multiple tenants lead to a mess when trying to manage and optimize billing across organizations. This issue has actually been one of the most raised by customers when looking at Azure Cost Management. To help address this issue, Microsoft recently added a new feature that allows you to manage multiple tenants from a single Microsoft Customer Agreement billing account. Once enabled, access can be granted to allow the viewing and downloading of invoices, monitoring cost, and creating additional subscriptions without having to navigate between multiple tenants. This simplifies the process and will allow greater visibility into the costs incurred across the entire organization. Every month, a cloud guru has a number of totally free courses, which changes over time. This month, if you want to level up your JavaScript knowledge, you're in luck. We're offering free Intro to JavaScript training, as well as how to expand your JavaScript skills with Angular and React. Check out the links in the description. A free account is genuinely free as well. No credit card needed, just content delivered. Jumping back into the world of monitoring, let's take a look at a new update for Azure Monitor that just went into GA, or generally available. Now, in Azure Monitor, you will be able to access a new change analysis feature. Metrics, logs, and traces, see, those explain what happened to your data. Microsoft describes this feature as providing the why. Now, with change analysis, you can review resources across multiple subscriptions and see details such as why a change might have occurred. Here are a few common applications that Microsoft lists for reasons to use change analysis. You can use it for troubleshooting what has changed in an application and its dependencies. You can use it for investigating and confirming that desired changes actually occurred, routine monitoring changes, and quickly sharing that data with your team, correlating change analysis with other observability data using Azure Workbooks, investigating metric spikes, or investigating who made a change. The best news is that change analysis is offered at no additional cost. This is definitely something that you should spend some time exploring, as it could very well cut down on investigation times, highlight problems faster, and lead to a quicker resolution of issues. Last up, we are going to take a look at some updates for premium SSD and standard SSD disk storage. In the past, if you wanted to increase the size of a managed disk, you had to log in, wait for your VM to be deallocated, resize the disk, and then spin everything back up. Yuck. While waiting, Whatever resources that use that VM were down, and business functionality suffered. Or you did because you had to log in at 2 in the morning. The good news is that Microsoft has just announced that Premium and Standard SSD can now be resized live. With this update, you will be able to expand managed disks without deallocating your VM. Now, there are a few limitations as this is a new service, and it only works for data disks below 4 terabytes, and it doesn't support Ultra, Shared, or SSD v2 disks. Now, you can access this feature using your favorite method though, whether that's CLI, PowerShell, ARM, or of course, the portal. That about wraps up this Azure This Week. As you can see, there's actually quite a bit of information going on in the world of Azure, and my guess is that changes and updates will continue to intensify the closer we get to Microsoft Ignite in October. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this Azure This Week. Sad to say goodbye, but I do have some good news. We'll be back next week with new updates. It will definitely be a show you don't want to miss. Until then, keep being awesome, gurus.